Welcome to another video. Thanks for joining me in this one. So in this video, I'll be talking about something that I believe I've seen happen to a lot of people that are much older. And these are people that maybe as a child, they've always wanted to achieve their goal of becoming a pilot. And for some reason, maybe due to funds, due to so many circumstances in their life growing up, they couldn't go after it. And when they get to a certain stage in life where they feel like they've achieved all the financial stability that they need, the goals that they've set for themselves, they've been able to achieve it, but there's just one more thing that is left to be achieved, and that is to fly an airplane. And I would see these people that would show up to, flight schools in their nice cars because they've, like I said, they've been able to build wealth. Maybe they have businesses, they're CEOs, they're maybe retired military guys, and they've done well. They are at the flight school to pretty much learn to fly because that's something that they've always wanted to do, and they've never been able to get to that during their lifetime. So in this video, I'll be talking about the things that comes with becoming a pilot at the age of 50 and above. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're a returning subscriber, thanks for joining me again. So in this video, my goal is just to be able to share some of these tips that I have down here, and hopefully you can benefit from it if you are thinking of becoming a pilot. Now, one of the things that I want you to understand is becoming a pilot at the age of 50, it's quite an adventure. It's totally different from when you're trying to do it at the age of 20 or 30 or maybe 40. And the reason is because it depends on what your ultimate goal is. For example, a lot of people would say they want to fly for a commercial airline, like fly professionally as a pilot, while some other people would choose to say, well, they just want to maybe fly their own airplane, while some other guys would choose to want to just learn to fly just to say that they are a pilot. It all depends. Some guys will buy their planes, some guys want to fly commercially, some guys want to just be a pilot. They don't have an airplane, they just want to be able to come to the flight school, fly once in a while, just to get in the air and just have the experience. So the first thing that I would like to answer is it even possible to become a pilot at that age? Well, I'm sure you already know that the short answer to that is yes, it is possible. And that is because, like they say, anything is possible. No matter the age, no matter how young or how old you are, you can always pursue your dream, and you can always achieve what you set your mind to. So it is possible. The long answer to that would be depending on how much time, how much money, and how much capability that you possess will determine if you can become a pilot or not. And let me expand on that a little bit. When it comes to money, of course, hopefully at this stage of your life, you already have substantial amount of money saved, and that means money should not be a problem going through training. As we know, when you're starting out as a young, 20-year-old, money is always a problem. You probably have to depend on family members, you're depending on loans. But at the age of 50 and above, at this point, you're probably well established in your career, or you're retired and you have so much money saved, and you're now planning to use this money for your passion of becoming a pilot. And because of that money that is readily available, that will go a long way in your training. The next thing is time. When it comes to having time, hopefully, like I said, if you're retired, or maybe you are not really focusing on trying to work as much. So at this point, you have all the time in the world to spend learning something new. The last aspect to this is the capability or the ability, all right? And the reason is because, at that age, generally, we experience a decline in capabilities or abilities as we age. Now, 50 isn't too old, of course, but at that point, you have to be very careful with your medical, you have to be very careful with your fitness, right? And as we know, being a pilot also requires you to be medically fit. Otherwise, you won't be able to, say fly for the airlines, or you won't be able to get certain classes of medical that you would need depending on the type of job you're going for. At this stage of your life, you're not too concerned about the money aspect, but at the same time, you want to make sure that your money isn't wasted. And that is why one of the things that I would recommend is to make sure that you have set aside some money that you know that, in the grand scheme of things, it won't hurt your long-term plans, like retirement, your actual retirement at an old age. I'm talking about 70s and above, right? At that point, you want to make sure that you still have enough money to take care of it. So you don't want to spend all your savings for training. Now, the other thing also is, when it comes to your longevity of your career, what are you planning to do? Like I mentioned, are you planning to buy an airplane and just fly yourself around? Or are you planning to work for an airline? Because when it comes to working for an airline, by the age of 65, you have to retire. When it comes to flying for maybe Part 135 and 91K or 91, you can still work up until the age of 70 and above, actually. As long as you're medically fit and you can still meet the requirements to have your medical, you can fly. You have to be patient with yourself. You have to understand that things will take a little bit longer for you to learn, and that is just because it takes time to change your habits. For example, a 20-year-old can easily learn things because they don't have a lot of things going on in their life. But 50, they have a lot. You have to be realistic with yourself, and you probably have a lot of things going on, and that generally could hinder your ability to learn fast. So you have to be patient with yourself, and I'm sure your instructor will be patient with you as well. And that means you also have to put in a lot of effort, a lot of time into learning and acquiring the skills that you need to build. The next recommendation here is to find a school that really understands your goal. So it's very important to make sure that the school understands what you're trying to achieve, right? For example, if you're planning to just fly yourself, then probably you don't need to be on schedule 24/7. Maybe you just want to come in leisurely, learn one or two things, and take 2, 3, 4 days off and come back again because of the other things that you are doing for a living, or whatever task that may be taking your time away. But if your goal is to go into the airlines, well, then time is of the essence because you want to fly as much as possible. So the school needs to understand what you're trying to achieve, and that way they can tailor your training in that direction. The next recommendation here is to connect with people. Now, at this age, I'm pretty sure connecting with people should not be a problem. And that means that, networking, going for events that are set up by these professional aviation organizations should not be a problem. But most importantly, you want to make sure that these events that you go to are associated with the direction that you're planning to go, if that makes sense. I'm not sure if I said that correctly, but the point here is, if you're planning to join an airline, then you want to go to events that are probably organized by airlines, right? And for airline pilots. If your goal is to fly a business jet for Part 91K or the Part 135 operators, then in that case, you want to also go to events that are tailored for those kind of pilots so that you can start meeting people. They can give you the inside information that you need, and that will hopefully speed up your process into joining such an operation. Now, the last but not least recommendation that I have for you is to be humble. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is it is very easy to look down on the instructor that is teaching you and feel like, well, this person is your kid's age mate. But the truth is your instructor, and he needs to also teach you and mentor you in the aspect of aviation, at least flying. So you need to be able to listen when he points out things to you, when you point out the corrections that you need to make. Like I said, it's very easy to feel like you have been at the top of your career, you've been at the top as a CEO, you've been at the top as a general, or whatever field you may have been, and you're at the top of that career at some point. But here you are in this field where you have to learn again. You're a student again, and you're at the bottom of the rank. So you have to be able to be humble and understand that it's just a phase, and you need to be able to learn so that you can move up. I hope that you found some value in this video, and I hope that you've been able to gain one or two things from it. If you have, please don't forget to like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Now, if you're in your 30s and 40s, then you can check out this video